Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 2 of the Backmarkers podcast. We are now 1 week in to the NASCAR season. And boys, let me ask you something. If I told you that the winner of the biggest race of the season
Was
and
not William Byron.
somebody who is now in the playoffs, Michael Mick Driver, what do you have to say about the finish of the great American race?
Not my
Strong
winner.
no comment.
So we got a couple, we have the biggest Penske cuck in Jay Harris. I imagine he was probably feeling pretty strong about himself coming in the last lap as we were on lap, 50 of right around the wall there.
No.
And then he had his two boys up there, Joey and Brad, and
Strong is not the way that I would describe it. Tyler said something to me through text message, and I said no comment. I'm not commenting right now. It was like right before that happened. I said I'm not gonna say anything, it'll jinx it. No thanks. And just thinking about it jinxed it. So it's probably my fault. Wasn't Brad's, terrible idea or anything that caused that.
Okay. Well, I mean,
push your teammate to the tri-oval and try it there. You know what's going to happen if you make that move on Logano. I mean, you fucking known him long enough.
I mean, at least he Ryan Newman it kind of put in the catch fence on the back and not in the front.
So, he gave it a good tail whip and grind down
honestly,
skateboard move.
Imagine that on the front stretch, all that fire and shit, like going into the fans.
Oh, dude, there would be some good barbecues in the fans.
Yeah.
The only thing that saved it was Michael McDowell winning. If Chase would have won, I probably would have hung myself.
I mean, so what is Brad supposed to do in that situation? He, like we said, or I was talking to Logan about this a little bit earlier. So Brad, this is the only thing he hasn't accomplished in NASCAR, really. This is the only crown jewel. He has a championship. He has all the other crown jewels. He's been wanting to win this race for so long. He's in the perfect position. He gets the perfect push down the back straightaway. I mean,
and there's not really much he can do because McDowell is locked onto his back bumper.
He didn't do anything wrong. It's not like he could have hit the brakes or anything like that. Like, he made the right move. He was there. Logano just decided,
to do what you're supposed to do.
Logano. Here's the thing about the Logano move was, you're not gonna. He's coming so much faster than you. You're not gonna block that run. The only chance.
Sorry to interrupt you, but honestly though, like if you watch it again, McDowell stays high and Brad goes low. If Joey Logano went high, I think McDowell would have pushed him, and Logano.
That's what I think too.
Keselowski would have had a.
No, I think like Chevys would have pulled out behind Brad. That's what it looked like, at least.
They were thinking about it, but I don't think they had the power. The Fords have had the power all day, and not only that too, but he had to do that move right there just because no one else was doing a move. He didn't know if the run was going to fade. He didn't know if the run was going to come out.
I personally think that second place car should have waited until the tri-oval or something, because at least if you wreck there, you probably slide across the line. Or you wait till a run from behind comes and then you pull out.
Maybe he had a feeling he was going to barbecue some fans.
Yeah, but everybody knew what was going to happen if he pulled out there. I mean, I knew it before it happened. That's why I no commented you.
Yeah.
Honestly, one of these plate races at Daytona, we're actually going to kill someone, though.
Oh, for sure.
They're not going to die.
Testing it hard.
Those cars are too safe.
No, I'm not even saying the cars. We're going to have, I mean, you have a tire that bounces up, like that one tire did off of Brad's. You have that bounce over the catch fence. It's not going to be pretty. I mean, just look at, what was it, Larson's wreck at Daytona in the, what was it, Nationwide back then?
Don't talk to me until you've almost been killed by a tire at Thunder Road Speedway.
Here's the problem with that is that the only time that national media talks about NASCAR is when something terrible happens. Like I was pretty tuned in to most of the stuff today, and they maybe touched about the Daytona 500 for a second. Last year, I remember there was every show was like that was almost their first thing was that wreck that happened at the end of the race.
We should have sacrificed Derek Cope.
which is honestly
Derek Cope's incident happened on lap 3 in turn 4. That's revenge for the 1990 Daytona 500.
For sure. Dale Earnhardt was looking out for that one. He's like, not on my watch.
Not today.
It was on lap 3 though.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
was a part about it. Yeah.
I told my dad that like they were doing the whole 3 salute, and I was like,
I didn't even think of that. That's brilliant.
I was like, that's a really good timing. There's a caution right there, and it's Derek Cope too.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you're right. And by the way, future guest JB.
I am very disappointed in Rick Ware race cars, Rick Ware Racing as a whole.
Yeah.
The fact
They had a
that
top
they
20.
but there were so few cars and none of their cars could finish on the lead lap.
It's because Joey Gase is
the
that's
only
a
reason the only reason their cars were clean still is because they were 2 laps behind out of the draft.
They were
by
just
lap
doing
14.
random pit stops. They're like, oh, let's throw some scuffs on that bad boy. Let's go. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to ride around by yourself, enjoy it.
Nah, dude, they were like,
they probably
throw
put
some ultra
tires
and
on
see what
from
happens.
last year's Daytona 500.
Dude, if they had stayed on the lead lap, Joey Gase would have got a top 10.
I
If he
mean,
would just hung behind the pack on the lead lap, I don't fucking get it. Why do you
he
show up?
probably
to the
would have
track?
been okay. Well, that was the thing is there wasn't like a lot of cautions. Like there wasn't that late caution to like bunch everybody up, which we've seen so many times here. Like,
but dude, if their cars can't even like hang at the tail end of the pack and stay on the lead lap at a plate track.
I mean, this is why they're the backmarkers. This is why
when I went to the Daytona 500 in 2019, Cody Ware was losing the draft off the start. Like he couldn't even hang by the time they were in turn 1. He was already a couple car lengths behind the whole field.
You know what that reminds me of is when you play, you're just hopping on NASCAR Heat and you just you play a just a random game with all the CPU and you start last and you're like on like the highest difficulty and then the whole field just drives away from you. And you're like, what am I supposed to do? I can't even stay in the draft here. Like,
yeah,
I'm just
they're
trying
like,
to get in the draft.
turn the difficulty down.
Welcome to the Rick Ware life.
Dude, it amazes me though that they have an IndyCar team, and don't they have like an LMP team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
you know who's racing for their IndyCar team. Remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Our boy.
Number 1.
Our boy, the Phoenix.
Romaine.
Dude, Ramen. Let's go. But yeah, like honestly, that like aerodynamics matters so much more in those cars, and if they can't do it right with a fucking Sprint Cup car or a what's it called, Monster Energy Cup car, whatever they are now,
they're just Cup
It's not Monster Energy. It's not Monster Energy.
Last year at the
NASCAR Cup Series.
Last year at the Indy 500, didn't their car burn down?
Yeah, James Davidson just went aflame. Yeah. He just was driving down the thing. All my brakes are on fire. This is a Rick Ware car. It makes sense. We're just gonna spontaneously combust, like
talking about
Kaz
talking about cars on fire. Kaz Gralla.
Poor guy.
Like they put out the fire and
God.
everything, and then he went back on the track. Like, did he not think it was gonna start back up?
That was some fucking grade A, like, dude, dumbassery.
Just taking out the brakes. Just said fuck it, see what happens.
I mean, that had to be a bearing. That had to be a bearing failure.
Yeah,
something.
Definitely.
The only good thing that happened this weekend was Austin Cindric winning the Xfinity race. Ben Rhodes is horrible and no one likes him, and he wins the truck race.
Okay.
If I ever meet
someone, review's done, baby. Let's go.
I mean, there's nothing else to say. What else is there to say about the 500? Like, Rick Ware did what Rick Ware does. Daytona did what Daytona does.
Well, I mean,
Daytona probably would have been a better race if Christopher Bell didn't clean out the field on lap 14.
That's
I don't really
a good
think
point.
Kyle Busch needed to give him the run from God either, but
yeah.
That was the other thing I wanted to touch on with you guys was the fact that so the big wreck, I mean, that's the thing everybody says about, speed weeks is, the big one, when's the big one going to come? Usually it's not on lap 15. The racing before that though was really good, honestly. Like that was probably the best racing of the entire race was before that giant wreck.
And not only
because
that
there were
too,
cars.
but if you watch it, like no one was getting super sketchy. Like they were 2-3 wide, but they weren't like dancing around. They weren't getting loose. They were just chilling out, going 3 lanes wide. And then Kyle Busch decided to send Christopher Bell to the moon, and then Christopher Bell was just like, yeah, what's
and
lifting?
It just so happened that fucking stupid Eric Almirola got loose at the same exact time, and I mean it was like a.
Well, I mean,
it was just a recipe for disaster.
Punching his ass, and he got a little bit loose, but Christopher Bell just didn't let up. It was like that trotter chick.
What is he supposed to slam on his brakes with that run that Kyle gave him? Like he
Oh
can't.
no.
No, he could hop in the middle.
He was probably dragging his brake and still catching like.
That is true. I didn't really think about that, but I mean, he could have at least tried to check up more. It just looked like he just fucking pinned it and took him out. He just
how many times has Eric Almirola been taken out at that exact place? And all of his wrecks there look exactly like that.
Like into the outside wall.
Yes, the dude needs to maybe set up his car different.
He's just destined for heartbreak. Does he still? His only win, right? Is that?
No, he has 2. He has 2 wins: Talladega and Daytona. He won in the 43 car.
That's right. Yeah. I was thinking of the 43 one. I knew that one at Daytona. I forgot about the 20. I think it was 2018 Dega race where Stewart Haas led like that entire race.
Haas just dominated. Like they did their own tandem.
Yeah, and Kurt Busch ran out of gas right at the end, and he just went by him. I remember that now. Yeah, I mean, it was tough to say because like honestly, like I thought the Toyotas, they look like the fastest cars to me, and I don't think you could have said that for a few years now, back to like 2016 when they dominated that whole race.
That is true.
I know.
The thing that hurt the Toyotas though was they didn't have the numbers for pitting. That really hurt.
The numbers. Yeah.
They should have pitted with the Fords.
Honestly, though, the Fords faked the fuck out of Hamlin.
And then, Hamlin got out way too far there.
That was a nice little juke they did.
Yeah, they had the best strategy, honestly.
I mean, Denny Hamlin, look, he was going for 3 in a row. I think he led 98 laps.
Yep.
Which...
Calling it Michael McDowell gets 3 in a row now.
Michael McDowell wins the championship.
I mean... He's going to be probably going to be in the top 10 at the road course for sure.
That's still like the craziest thing about me. Like I'm sitting here like almost 24 hours later, and the fact that Michael McDowell, I think it's less crazy to me the fact that Michael McDowell like won a race and won like a plate race in the Daytona 500 or whatever, as the fact that like Michael McDowell is going to be in the playoffs. Like, I mean, that is
10 years ago. Trevor Bayne won. 10 years ago, Trevor Bayne won.
Yeah, that is true. But I mean,
he wasn't in the playoffs because he wasn't racing full time.
McDowell though, he's not a horrible driver. Like, obviously he's not in good. I mean,
equipment. He's not a scrub for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Clint Boyer said it perfectly that he's always going to be up there at the end of it unless he gets wrecked early. And look at all the finishes. He's always been up there. He's always been a contender with like 10 to go.
Right.
And I mean, same with the road course too. He's solid.
All of his teammates got cleaned out in that first wreck.
Yeah, that is true.
Right. And Hamlin said that too after the race. Like he tweeted out that like, it's not a fluke win because he's always been up here at these super speedway races.
Exactly. I think it was time for him to get one.
If that team
gave it to him.
If that team concentrates, just like forgets the rest of the regular season now and just concentrates on like round 1, like building good cars for the playoffs, dude, it's Darlington, Richmond, Bristol in the round of 16. Like he's a veteran. He could move through round 1, and then Vegas, Talladega, Roval. I mean, dude, he can make a run if they gave him the equipment.
I think that team should contact Penske after this and just be like, hey, we'll pay you a little bit extra, give us some like engines or some shit, and help us out in the playoffs.
Yeah, like fuck that Cindric guy you were gonna have run some races this year.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck that
guy.
That's
the cars to Michael McDowell.
Jay, that's the thing though, is those races you left out that you said there, Darlington, Richmond, Bristol. I mean those are all like handling tracks. Like I would think like McDowell, I could see him staying up at like a maybe getting a top 15 at like a Vegas or a Kansas or a Texas or some of those other tracks where like you can use the
You
draft
just
a
got to
little
pull
bit.
Kurt Busch at Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas, Talladega, Roval in round 2, and then
Right.
obviously Texas, Kansas, Martinsville. But if they, I don't know, man. I don't know his record off the top of my head at those tracks, but I know he's fine. He could finish in the top 10 at a couple of those first round races.
Yeah, and I mean the people that he's
Sneak
going to be
through.
racing with, like, no offense to you, Ryan, but William Byron and people like that, I think he could boot William Byron out of the playoffs.
Eric Almirola.
Eric Almirola too. I think he can boot him out of the playoffs.
Well, William Byron.
It would be fun to see. I mean, this is all fantasy.
William Byron, I think I was the only one that predicted. I mean, William Byron was my pick to win the Daytona 500. It didn't work out. He got screwed over in the dual race when what's his name? Garrett Smithley decided to be a hero. Garrett Smithley decided to be a hero and took out some
Just
good
another
cars.
Smithley and Gase.
That 24 car was very good in the dual race, and they put the backup in there, and I'm sure it wasn't quite as good, but he was still going to be around there. And then unfortunately gets taken out right at the end of that wreck.
He was lucky he didn't end up on his lid though.
Right?
He was. Yeah.
He was so close.
I couldn't believe that car was still drivable.
Like they went on the onboard of like another car, and for like a split second, all you could see was the roof numbers of the 24.
Yeah, it was Ryan Newman.
Yeah.
Who always has cars flipping on him, but every single
Blaney
race
came back as Blaney came down. He was on two wheels coming down in front of Blaney.
Right?
Yeah.
Every single race.
Blaney missed the wreck, and then the grass happened.
Grass, yeah.
That was a big theme throughout all the weekend, was like all the rain that was there. And if there's a lot of years here where you can go, right? I mean, but there's a lot of years where like if it's been dry, you can go through that and you're fine. But when that's the thing,
you're gonna
is
go
like
through it, you wanna full throttle it. That's basically what you gotta do. Either that or going it in reverse.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that
even.
Stuck
I mean,
in there.
look at Tommy Joe Martin's incident. He spun, completely missed the wall, and then as he was spinning back forward, the splitter caught on the grass in the Xfinity race. And
This boy has a crush on Tommy Joe Martins. I feel like he's always Logan's like example for everything. He's like, look what happened to Tommy Joe Martins in this race.
Hey, I like the small guys, so.
Well, okay, so like
I'm in gusset jeans.
That's the thing though, is you look at how Charlotte Motor Speedway is, like the infield is all turf.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Yeah.
How much?
Go turf.
I don't know like the expense for like all these tracks to like just get rid of dirt and straight to turf, but like
they can afford it. Is my opinion on that.
It would save so many cars. Like there were
think about the road course.
They
don't have to worry about dirt kicking up onto the road course.
Exactly. That's such a good point. There is that we saw in the Clash, which we'll touch.
Yeah, it was so interesting, like seeing Chase Elliott's windshield during the Clash. You could not see through it because of all the dust and dirt.
Another thing with all the road courses this season, like what's Michael McDowell always good at?
Oh yeah,
road courses.
And
he always finds his way up there.
And now he's got. He finished 10th at the Daytona road course last year, and I'm pretty sure he was running up in the top 5.
Colin McDowell for another win this season?
No, I just think he's gonna finish well.
Yeah.
At the season start, he had 11 chances to probably finish inside the top 5. He already nicked one of those, but he has 11 chances to finish inside the top 5 with all the plate races and the road courses.
I mean, that's true. Like, I mean, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, I mean, that's just one less spot in there, and I think we all sort of agreed in that the first episode of the podcast when we were talking about the playoffs was that 16 is too many. And now if we get a couple more winners like this on the plate tracks and all the road courses we have, there's going to be some guys that you think should be in the playoffs that might not end up making it. So
William Byron.
And like I believe I said last podcast is we're going to have a lot of one-time winners this year, and I'm going to stick by that.
I'm hopeful.
One for one now.
I think. I mean. It's basically like I would much rather have like a full parity year versus like last year where we had two guys just dominate the entire series
and then choke it away.
and then choke it away. And Chase turned it out at the end to his credit. But yeah,
Honestly,
I hope we get a bunch of different winners.
I love having Denny Hamlin in the Final Four because he's like a choke artist. So it's fun to watch him figure out how to lose the last race of the season.
I
every
still
year.
don't know why they put that huge piece of tape at Homestead on his car.
Yeah.
Like literally, that was
Chris Lambert, man, he's a big tape guy.
Dude, they were just all right, mock qualifying run.
Tape covered the whole front end of his car.
Yeah, he was going for a couple of quick laps, man.
Do you think he was actually gonna win that though? Like,
no, they were taking a swing for the fences. Like,
yeah,
it was the dumbest swing for the fences.
Didn't wreck his crew. Put the tires on the wrong fucking side.
He was definitely faster than Kyle Busch, and he was just like, yeah, let's reverse these motherfucking tires.
That is fucking, that's a big
Dude,
whoopsie.
I would have personally fought my crew, on God.
So number one, after each cup race, we're gonna do a rate the race out of 10. So fellas,
just like Eric Estep, we're wicked cool like Eric Estep.
I'll let you go first. Give me a professional score. Rate the 2021 Daytona 500.
Who?
Who is feeling anxious right now? That feels like they...
All right, I think it was a probably 6 out of 10, a little bit above average, because I mean there have been some really boring Daytona 500s where they're just in a line, but the driver obviously helped out a little bit. It kind of saved it from being an average 4 to 5 Daytona 500. I think the finish was pretty cool, but other than that, it was just another forgettable Daytona 500. Yeah, fire, exactly.
I'm saying 4.5, man, because we had to wait 18 hours in between the start and the finish of the race. It felt like
because of people like you, Tyler. People like you on the West Coast were complaining. That's why we started late.
Dude, maybe they should get off their lazy. Maybe they should get off their lazy asses and wake up early. Like people in Russia probably wake up for NASCAR like 3 a.m.
All right, nobody in Russia's watching NASCAR. Just a heads up.
That is, I'm saying. But I mean, like I have to get up at like 5 to watch like F1 races, and I'm cool with it. Like just get off your lazy ass, and if you're that passionate about it, watch it.
Probably would have been a 3.5.
Because the world revolves around them.
Yeah, it would have been a 3.5, and if like Michael McDowell wouldn't have won that.
All right, if Case won, what would you give it?
Me.
Well, if Joey Logano would have won, what would you have rated it?
9.5.
22.5.
If his teammate would have used his fucking common sense and pushed him to a 500 win, yeah.
His common sense, like, oh yeah, let's just be a team cuck and just like push him.
You are where you are. Sorry, Brad. Like your teammate's gonna wreck both of you if you make the move. Like use your common sense. You took him out at Kansas. He owed you one.
Yeah. I will say.
A certified Logano moment though. Certified Logano moment.
I will say Brad had to know that Joey Logano was going to block it no matter what.
Exactly,
like I said, certified Logano.
Is a second better than a 12th or a 13th and throwing your gloves at your non-existent rear end?
It doesn't matter. It's the Daytona 500. Like, who cares if you finish like second or finish 43rd?
Bro.
Like, it's
honestly though, like I would wreck my dad if I was gonna win the Daytona 500. I'd fucking Dale Earnhardt him.
Yeah, but you're not gonna fucking at that point in the track, dude. Like heading into the corner and stuff.
That was the perfect time to do it. Like he pulled
right,
off.
But you're not gonna. Like he's gonna wreck both of you and like probably the whole field.
So
like,
why isn't that Logano's fault?
I mean, I'm not saying it's just who's in front of you.
You know who's in front of you. So Logano, what he should have done, he could have let Brad get under him and then side draft the shit out of him and hope McDowell would have gone with him.
I think hindsight's 2020 though. Hindsight's 2020.
I think just hit him in a spot where his car was light and it turned him sideways. Like if they were on the straightaway or like when he did that, I don't think it would have turned him sideways like it did either.
Honestly, I think if Brad went high, he would have got wrecked anyways from getting turned across McDowell's bumper. So I think it was a wreck situation for him both ways.
Yeah, that is kind of true, but I mean at the same time, McDowell's going to go give him a shove into 3, and he cuts down as soon as he gives him that shove. Like no one
was pulling out. If he would have pulled out, like getting a run out of 4, it probably would have ended a little more reasonably.
Well, that was the thing.
Now they're gonna have babies.
He got the run like that's where he got the run. Like
he
at
chose
that point,
to get the run there. He was backing it up. He could have gotten the run wherever he wanted to.
I mean, but we
Imagine if he
saw
just fucking parked it on
the
the back
caution
straight,
could have come
like,
out though, like at any time, and like that was my whole issue with like the end of the race was like what Austin Dillon and Chase Elliott were 5th and 6th. Like you just thought like, oh, when are the Chevys gonna go? They didn't make a move to the last lap. I think Austin pulled out of 2 and didn't go anywhere. Like you can't.
yeah.
That's the thing that is so annoying to me is watching the end of these races is they are all so scared to make that move and to like have some balls and like pull out. You aren't gonna win the race from 5th or 6th when you're in a line like that.
You know why they
you have to make that move early. That's the biggest thing about it. And
or at least
that I
test
mean
the run. Test it.
and there's no point in not because if you wait to the last lap and you're 5th, 6th on back, you're not going to win the race from there.
Oh yeah, I mean, you could have. Everybody was like simping out basically.
The Toyotas back there. I think the Toyotas were waiting on. They were like, yeah, the Chevys. When are they going to make the move? And they were going to go with them or try to set up a move. And everybody just sat there. And
isn't that what Denny Hamlin said? Like he was just like, I was waiting for them to make a move, but they didn't until the last lap, which is ridiculous. And I mean,
you can't win from there. That's exactly what he said. You
exactly. Like at least test a run. Like with 5-10 laps to go, test a run. Like try and get a run and see what happens, and then you guys can just adjust from there. I didn't get it.
That's the thing is like once it gets single file like that, the quicker I think I would have even done it with like 5 or 6 laps to go. The quicker you can start to get that run and get the energy in the bottom lane. Like there is going to be guys back there that are ready to get up there and that are going to go with you.
And they had their lap cars back there too. They lined up their lap cars late in the race too for extra push.
And you knew like the top, 3 or 4 the way it was. They weren't going to do anything. But everybody behind them, that's what everybody thought was that they're going to make that move at some point here. And they just waited too long, and that's what killed the Chevys and Toyotas was they were just too scared to make that move. So
bottom line, this is what happens. Michael McDowell wins when everybody has no balls.
Yeah.
And Penske has too many balls, like normal.
Yeah. I can't believe Tyler Reddick was able to keep out there though, with that much damage.
Yeah. That was.
You don't see a modified like that on a plate track anymore.
Yeah, that man was gonna go run New Smyrna later.
Kudos to his team getting that car back out there and under the gay 6-minute clock.
Yeah.
I mean, homosexual 6-minute clock.
Yeah. Thank you for being politically correct there, Jay. So Logan, you gotta rate the race for me, and then I gotta put my rating in here.
I'm going with a 5. It was boring, the single file. I think it would have been more entertaining if they didn't all wreck right away, because that took out a lot of fast cars. But yeah, I think this is the second worst race, Daytona 500 race for back to the 2013 with the Gen 6 cars.
Yeah, I would probably have to agree with that. So like for me, when I'm rating this, 5 is average. 5 is in the middle. I am going to give this a 3.9.
Ooh.
Like we said, the best racing in the entire race was before the huge crash, and everybody was, going at it. Everybody had all their partners set up. Everybody was going for it. And then you knew once that big wreck happened, people were going to get timid, and there wasn't going to be the numbers,
And then the rain delay happened.
The long ass rain delay, that's always annoying. I mean, we do like a good night race, but I mean, it was going to finish under the night regardless. But that was the thing, was that the amount of good, there was basically like 15 good cars that were in good shape, and like there was no pressure really to like race during most of the event. It was basically just wait because like you're in like an okay position coming to like 20 laps to go. So We've seen a lot better plate racing. Last year for sure. All the plate races I think last year were pretty phenomenal. But when you just have a big wreck like that at the beginning, it just kind of, I mean, it's cool to look at and people get excited about it, but it kills the racing, unfortunately. And there was just way too many single file racing here. So that was disappointing. What about your guys's driver of the race? Who would you
Just
say?
a second. Did you see I think it was at the end of stage 1 there. Did you see Bubba almost kill Logano for 4 stage points?
Yes. I do. Yeah, Logano actually, it looked like
Cut
he
him a
backed
break.
off. It looked like he backed off, and I was like, wow, Joey Logano, wow.
Yeah, he would have been called a racist if not.
Yeah,
Fair,
I was
yeah,
like,
it's
he was probably
fair to
scared of the hate crime coming in there, but I mean,
These
And
plate
NASCAR's
tracks
made that clear.
These
That's the
plate
first
tracks,
time-
now that Bubba has a better car, he's a missile without wings. That's literally what he is.
I mean, he was
No
was
comment.
fast all night.
I was
I
just
mean,
about to ask though, like, what do you guys think of Bubba
before
Wallace?
he was
Like,
a
we need
missile
to sell
without
out
wings,
real
he's
quick.
not a fast one.
We need to
He-
sell
I
out real
mean-
quick. I need to put food on the table. What do you guys
No
think of
comment.
Bubba Wallace?
Yeah. Listen, like I said this. I thought the Toyotas looked like they had the strongest cars all night. Bubba, it looked like he was making, every move he wanted to most of the night. He knew he was going to have the best car in the field to go with him, Denny Hamlin. So
Denny was like, 2 paychecks, baby. Let's go.
I mean,
I believe
so-
Bubba's the first African American to lead laps at a Daytona 500.
And
Yes,
honestly,
yep.
though, like, compared to his 43 days, he looked a lot more
He looked a lot more
comfortable out there.
confident.
Yeah.
Comfortable
Well,
and confident.
that's what happens when you have a car that can actually handle worth of shit.
So, what do you guys think it's going to be like on an intermediate track or a track that you somewhat talent for?
Right. And that's gonna be the big question to me. That's what I'm really interested to find out, because like, I mean, the road course I still think is not gonna be a clear cut, we're not gonna have a clear cut opinion of how that car is gonna be just from that. But once we get to Homestead and then Vegas and then Phoenix, I think after those 3 races, we're gonna have a pretty good idea of how confident those guys are gonna be. So
Yeah,
I'm excited for Homestead, though. I love
for
Homestead.
all
It's
our
my favorite
listeners,
track.
Jay's just bullying Ryan with in our chat, so
That's okay.
we'll just move past that. We'll just move
we're
past
all.
Well, I wanted to
used
figure out
that.
what kind of hat he was wearing, so I googled it and I figured it out. Right, you're gonna
It's
have to check the
actually-
chat for that one. It's inappropriate.
Don't worry.
Ooh,
I saw
sponsor,
it.
sponsor.
It's not a sponsor. Well, it is Wild Rock Golf Club, which
It is an unpaid sponsor.
it is an unpaid sponsor, but that would be pretty sick if they did sponsor us, because they have a great golf course. I've been out there a few times last year. It's in the Wisconsin Dells.
No, the
So,
But yeah,
Dells.
like going back to
the
it
good
though,
old
like
Dells.
I'm so excited for Homestead. Homestead's definitely one of my favorite tracks. Definitely my favorite mile and a half. And I think
It
it's gonna
is.
definitely show like who's gonna be strong. Like I think Larson's
Yeah.
gonna be strong. He's always strong there. And then it's gonna be
It's-
like a real showing to see if that 23 car is gonna be, somewhat competitive.
So we
Well-
could have 2 very white, powerful drivers win 2 out of the first 3 races. Is what you're trying to say?
Honestly
mean,
though,
Michael McDowell did
what
wreck
if
Bubba at Bristol and fist fight Daniel Suarez. So
that is true?
I'm just saying,
That's-
not
that
pre
is
What
a
if,
conspiracy
fair
what if
theories
it's
point.
out there.
Bubba Wallace and Kyle Larson at Homestead? That would be so funny. Yin and
That
yang.
would be pretty insane. They were nose to tail a couple times in the 500. I was like, oh,
Dude,
that's
Yeah, I think
They
Larson
stopped
backed
racism.
off him. I'm out of here.
Um,
But quick touch on the truck race and stuff. I mean, I think like it always is, those 2 races were more fun or more exciting, at least, than this year's Daytona 500.
because of all the inexperience.
Yeah, I mean, inexperience.
Yeah.
Talk about the ARCA race. My boy Griffith getting wrecked out by
Trotter.
crazy Trotter. Yeah,
She just straight up turned.
she shouldn't
him.
even be driving an Uber. Ridiculous.
I mean, she wasn't doing horrible until that happened. Like she
Until
was doing
she,
okay leading
wrecked
because
her
you don't have to do
teammate.
much.
On like the
Yeah.
17th lap.
She's like,
Uh,
yeah, let me give this guy a fat shove
I
in the
mean,
middle of the
you
corner.
can't bump draft on the left rear.
in the middle of
you
the
shouldn't
corner.
be bum drafting in the corner either. Yeah. I mean,
And then
boy
she just
had no
finished
chance.
him. Like, she gave him a shove, and he was losing it, but he was doing a good job keeping it together. But she was just like, "All right, you want another bump?"
Yeah, and they didn't even give the boy a post Speedway Hospital interview either. Come on, they're like,
he probably fucking left. He probably didn't even go to the care center.
Gracie Trotter's like, go get your World Series, your second World Series championship in a row. Get over to New Smyrna, baby.
Dude, what if that's a good little conspiracy right there? The spotter, Mike Harmon, the GOAT.
It was Mike Herman Jr. I figured out that. I think it's Chris Buescher's spotter. I figured that out during the 500. But yeah,
so
for the meme, Mike Harmon would make sense.
Exactly.
Mike Harmon should spot for every female driver on the track.
Just anybody known to man.
Yeah, Jennifer Jo Cobb during the Truck Series.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Which race do you think of those, like of the truck race and the Xfinity race, was a better race? I'd probably lean towards the truck race. Yeah.
Truck race would definitely. How about Derek Kraus though? He couldn't catch any break.
That was a tough race for him.
People from Wisconsin are just simping this past week, I think. I'm not going to point out any names, but Derek Krause was one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah, there was some in the World Series simping out from Wisconsin too.
Yeah. I mean,
Jordan Anderson coming from 12th on the backstretch all the way to second coming across the line.
Was he 12 on the backstretch?
Yep.
He was 11th or 12th.
Wow.
Yeah.
11.
How sad is it that Derek Anderson didn't even get to run the Xfinity race because of qualifying rang out. That was a bummer.
That's true.
And that basically screwed. He was going to run full season for points and everything. That just screwed everything. So now I'm wondering if he switches back for points for the Truck Series.
I don't know. I don't think he's running the whole season in trucks. So,
I mean, he could do.
Well, now that he's not running the whole series in Xfinity, I mean, there's a lot of options for him. So
he'll be the Xfinity Daniel Suarez.
Yeah. I mean,
I got Michael McDowell for my driver race, though. We kind of like simped over that real quick.
Yeah. We'll do that quick, and then we'll go back to the truck race.
Yeah, driver of the day, Michael McDowell for me, easily. Like, no contest. He deserves a win. He's very good at the play tracks for what he has, and he definitely earned that win. Like, granted, he kind of had to kill Keselowski, but you got to do what you got to do. Like I said, I'd recommend my own dad to win the Daytona 500.
I mean, it's the Daytona 500.
I think he was just doing what Keselowski wanted him to do, honestly. He just wanted that shove from the man of the God.
Keselowski was just like, kill me.
If he couldn't get it from God himself, I mean, who better to get it than Michael McDowell, because he loves God.
Dude, that face of his, just like right behind yours, like seeing it through the helmet, you're just like, he's come.
It just looked like your friend. It looked like your friend's dad won the Daytona 500.
Dude, that's
essentially
so
what Michael McDowell
funny.
looks like.
That is so
like the guy you see at the grocery store. Like, hey, buddy, good to see you.
He's in the no neck club with Ryan Newman.
For real.
I mean, I'm gonna get hated on for this, but I mean, like, my driver of the day was Denny Hamlin. I mean, he had all the pressure on him from winning the last two, trying to become the first person to three-peat. And he led 98 laps of the fucking race. Like, he came out there. I mean, he still was the best car. I think we could all say that.
Yeah,
like, the moves he made, like, nobody else was making the moves he made, and his car was so strong. And like he said after the race, the thing that killed him was the fact that they were too good on pit road. They were too good, and they got way out in front of everybody, and then they got
Chevy decided not to move to the last lap, even though they're half a straightaway behind.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
I definitely can't agree with you with that. Like, that is a pretty solid choice. He had a lot of pressure to win that third Daytona 500, third one in a row, and he was definitely on his way. Like, if that pit stop thing didn't happen, he would probably have been up there.
Oh, he's just. I mean, I think
this
was
Dale
like
Earnhardt Jr. Low key.
I think this was his 8th top 5, like, in the Daytona 500, which is pretty insane because of just like how, super speedways are and how hard it is to get up there. But he is always going to be a factor in this race specifically, and then every other super speedway. So, I mean, yeah, I think he had, he would have been the highest driver rating for this race, and I think he was my driver of the race for sure. What about you, Logan?
I'm gonna go with Ross Chastain. finished 6th with a car that the right side was completely caved in.
Yeah. I mean, that was interesting because he didn't. You didn't see him too much of him either tonight or in the duels either. But he just sort of hung around there, and then right at the end of the race,
Well,
he got.
with the duels, that's because he got wrecked.
Yeah. No, that's true. But it just he just hung around the whole time, and then.
Speaking
that's...
of Chastain, though, did you guys see him and Reddick pushing what's his face's car, McDowell's?
Oh yeah.
That was
yes, that was
cool.
pretty good. That was pretty good.
I loved how all the drivers were going out to eat during the rain delay.
That was so fun.
That
Yeah,
was
I did
pretty
see
good.
Ross Chastain going through the drive-thru.
McDonald's,
Yep. Seeing
That
the
was
employees' reaction to that. You a race car driver? She didn't even know who he was.
Nah, she
He was
had
like,
was
I'm
freaking
actually
out.
kind of.
She was
in a
freaking
car
out.
that
Didn't know
used to
who
be sponsored.
she didn't
Like,
know
yeah, I
who
got
he
more money
was,
than
but she was
you.
freaking out because he was a race car driver.
honestly, it probably
Yeah,
could have
it
been
was
Dale Earnhardt Jr. and she had no idea who that
And
was. So
Chase
I mean,
Briscoe.
you live
Chase-
in Daytona and you don't know any of the race car drivers? Give me a fucking break.
Chase Briscoe going to Panda Express. I mean,
Is that where he went? Good for him.
Yeah, I would not go
so
to a place like that if I had a race afterwards. But yeah,
Honestly, though, to test my endurance, I'd eat like 20 pounds of Taco Bell during the race and just see what happens.
Good luck. Bro, you have that run
you'd
from
probably
the
have to be
diarrhea.
the one. You'd probably be the
For
one
real.
have to take out the seat back at the shop.
My
Oh,
interview
God.
would be like, yeah, I had 2 runs at the end, one to finish the race and one in my pants.
Get that wet dry back going, baby.
yeah, hopefully you
Pulling
didn't have
in.
a white fire suit.
Dude, I'm gonna make sure it's as white as can be too. I'm gonna show them my skid marks.
I mean, shit. If you won the race, though, I mean, who fucking?
Oh,
cares?
dude, I would be flaunting it.
I'll shit my pants for a Daytona 500.
I'd be
what
like,
are you talking?
y'all lost to someone who shit his pants.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that was.
Yeah.
All right. So let's actually do.
Before
you guys
we get
want
to that,
to touch
I have a
on
question.
what?
What do you guys think of plate racing in general? Because I'm not a huge fan of it. I've never really been
I think
too.
we can't technically call it that anymore, according
But,
to what they
yeah,
said the other night.
Yeah, according to the announcers, but super speedway racing, I'm not a huge fan of it. I never have been. Granted, even though my favorite driver was Dale Earnhardt Jr., I still never really liked the plate races. I thought they were kind of boring, like this one kind of was. Just
They
a
are
single flat
boring.
top.
They're always set up to be the most boring races possible because if
And
what happens the other night happens, you not only have a wreck that takes out a quarter of the field, but you have to wait 8 hours because it's Daytona and it
and
rains.
it's made up like action because you know
Don't-
there's gonna be a big one. You know there's gonna be a big last lap pass where everybody dies or someone unknown wins.
You don't get
It's artificial.
you don't
The
get
only
you-
reason I like plate racing at Daytona is the more the sentimental value for me, because I went with my grandma a few years ago before she ended up passing away from cancer. So it's just more of a sentimental value for me than anything. But yeah, I agree.
I was gonna say like and so is Indianapolis to some people. Then you brought up your grandma, and I was like, I'm gonna be quiet. But I just had to say it anyways.
Yeah, he
Rest
just
in
wanted to
peace.
say something where we couldn't shit on him afterwards.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. No, I think like I do enjoy plate racing, and I think it's because that I think 4 is like the perfect number of plate racing. I feel like each time
They're
it
such
comes
a wild card.
well, yeah, they are a wild card, and anybody can win, which is good because there's so many tracks where like other than 12 guys, like nobody has a shot. So I think that's part of the attraction. A lot of times the racing is entertaining. It's just like we said, when the cars get dwindled down, it's when they decide they don't want to race, it's gonna be really uneventful for a
There's
long
not
time.
enough energy to
Yeah.
pull both lanes along.
And
There-
to me, it's just too artificial. Like I'd
Mhm.
rather have something
Yeah, I get it.
like
I
at
mean,
Martinsville or something. Like it's gonna be a shit show, but it's
it's
gonna
a
be
battle
like,
of I mean, well, we say this though is like, I mean, it's more of a driver's track, it shows more of the skills coming out, but then at the same time, we look at all these plate races and who's battling up towards the end. It's Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano,
I'm not doubting
Chase
like
Elliott,
skill.
like,
Yeah, I'm not doubting like the skill of plate racers like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Dale
Yeah.
Earnhardt, great, magnificent plate racers. Brad Keselowski's good too. Joey Logano's really good. Like all those people, they're really solid at plate races. But I think it takes a lot more to win at, say, like a Martinsville, or like a Bristol,
for sure.
versus a Daytona, where you
No
can lock in.
question.
There's a lot of luck when it comes to plate racing.
And ironically, a
Ton of
lot of those
luck, yeah.
same guys are good at those short tracks
Exactly.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. No, and I think 4 is the perfect number. I don't think we need any more plate races than that. I think each time a plate race comes around for me, based on just like the way the schedule is, it's like, all right, like that was nice. Like I don't want to do this again for a while, and you don't. So
I want to do this again.
I mean, yeah, like
I
by
say
the
for
time
I'd say for the next plate race, they just cut off all the fenders like Tyler Reddick, and they all race like that.
I say they just give him 900 horsepower unrestricted. Just see what happens.
The great thing too is like I was watching the Xfinity race with my brother, and he doesn't usually watch racing, and he's been doing a lot of sports betting. He's like, who should I bet on? And I was like Alex LeBay, because he was as a long shot, and I was like Daniel Hemrick as like a mid, like a secondary kind of a long shot, and then I was like, hedge your bets with Austin Cindric. So he like didn't lose any money, but I felt pretty stupid when Alex LeBay spinning down to the infield.
Yeah.
And on like lap 5, I'm like, yeah, that's why I told you play racing, you don't want to bet on it, but hold your horses. And then Alex LeBay,
their whole team was bringing out caution after caution,
and they were some of the fastest. They were some of the faster mid-pack cars in practice, I should say.
Oh, we did get our Cesar Baccarella spin in there.
That's right. That's
You always
right.
have to get one at Daytona.
He's the only Alex LeBay is the only one on that team worth a shit, but like, he'll probably make the playoffs this year. I honestly think that, but
It wouldn't be a Daytona race if he didn't end up spinning.
How about Ryan Sieg? He did pretty good.
Yeah.
From what I saw.
Ford. Yeah.
Yeah.
Logan,
was
didn't
he
you put him in
thinking?
your final 4?
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah.
oh, you don't have
Yeah,
Tommy
he's
Joe
looking
Martin's
good,
in your
man.
final 4.
No, I don't.
You know what would be a really cool idea, honestly? If they move the Clash to like New Smyrna, like during the World Series, like have like a 50-lap shootout, that would be sick.
It's almost like some brilliant motherfucker came up with that idea and then you repeated it on the podcast.
Oh, I totally didn't remember you saying that, but great minds think
Take
alike,
some
I guess.
credit for it, Jay. Jeez.
I agree, though. There's 2 tracks down
Well,
there.
I mean,
5
shit,
flags
I
and
mean,
Smyrna.
I could say, yeah, 5 flags too. That'd be kind of
Either
cool.
one, like at least you have something interesting going on, or like change it up, because the road course is
fighting
not
with
that
officials.
fun for a 35 lap shootout.
Not at
But
all.
a short track where they're beating and banging the whole time, shit, put them in modifieds.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
kind of cool. But even then, like during like one of the biggest weeks of racing, like the World Series of Asphalt, put them there. They'd fit perfect in that show. Like have the tour mods before that, and then boom, the final show.
Especially
is
on a
gonna
year
be-
like this where you can't have like a big crowd anyway, and most people are going to
Except
watch
for
on TV.
Florida.
It's perfect. Yeah, well, everybody's got COVID down there.
They're all
But yeah,
tired.
they used to do the Prelude to the Dream, but instead of asphalt or dirt modifieds, put them in asphalt tour type modifieds. Have each team build their own tour type modified, and then tow them down to New Smyrna and let the boys fucking use the chrome horns. That'd be like the most interesting thing
Put them in
ever.
mini stocks, a little 4 cylinders.
Anything, honestly, anything.
4-cylinder mini stocks, but gotta be front wheel drive. That would be a race.
That would be kind of cool.
Put them in bandoleros. I don't even give a
That
shit.
would
Dude.
be
You know
sick.
those guys are gonna like kill each other if they're in those cars. They're gonna
for
be out there just
Oh,
beating
yeah.
and banging.
Dude, honestly, I was surprised the Clash this year
Risk
wasn't
goes
on
around.
iRacing.
Yeah.
I figure.
Honestly,
I
in
figured
20
we could-
years, all racing is gonna be on iRacing, and none
Yeah.
of it's gonna be in real life anyway.
Honestly, it's kind of sad to think about that. It's definitely a possibility.
It's
I
sad.
mean,
It's
think how much
very sad.
money like could be saved from that. Like, I hate to like
That's
be the person
problem.
that bring
Yeah,
that up,
don't
but
get on-
like,
just forget about
Dude,
the
I mean,
positives.
Shut up, Ryan. If this ends up happening, I'm blaming you. I'm coming over there and
Yeah.
killing you.
And Parker Klingerman's gonna own the Powerhouse team because he's
oh my gosh,
started now.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
The Daytona 500 for the Coca-Cola series, the winner got $335,000 just for the Daytona 500. I think.
yeah, exactly.
That's
That's part of the
insane.
problem, dude.
That is one full.
They have to
Cup car.
spend zero
They-
overhead on that, basically, besides making it look pretty for
I
broadcast.
mean, getting up into those ranks though to make that show you spend a lot of time and sometimes a lot of money on your setup.
But that's what people. Yeah, but it's still cheaper than hopping in an actual race car. That's the problem.
Think about it. You buy a $4,000 Fanatec wheel, pedals, and all that stuff, and you win the Daytona 500. And you get 300
yeah, but you don't even. I mean,
those
shit.
guys. Imagine going to like a place that file like taxes. What do you do for your job? Oh, I'm a full-time sim racer.
Yeah, but you know that the sad thing is there are going to be more people claiming that than actual race car drivers. Like in a few years, and it's
yeah. Well, there almost already is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so much easier to get into. If this next-gen
car doesn't work or something, and it just tanks NASCAR, welcome to the sim racing every week.
Yeah, could you imagine?
But then again, though, I do think like short track racing and stuff like that through iRacing would be a lot more popular because people like Ryan, who doesn't watch short track racing, they'll be like, "Wow, this is kind of sick."
Oh, this race got William Byron in it? Yeah, I watch it.
Yo, I definitely watch it if William Byron was in it for sure.
Well, the thing is, I don't know how you do in a tour mod or super late or
yeah, he'd lap the entire field probably. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, since we were just talking about the Clash a little bit, what did you guys think of the race though? I mean, we know that you guys,
I believe Goodyear brought a softer tire this
roll.
Yeah,
which I think helped with the. I mean, we wouldn't have got that battle with Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney without it.
You know what the Clash should bring back? Letting the Xfinity and the Truck Champion race in it.
That'd be
that
cool.
Used to be a thing.
And we all talked about
they just needed to do the all three series.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like that'd just be so much more fun at the Daytona road course because it's so big.
Right.
They literally host one of the biggest races of the year across the world, the 24 hours, and they have like 6 different classes. They could easily do like a full field of each series. Screw it, throw the ARCAs in there too.
I mean, yeah, shit, like.
Or if you're gonna do that if you're gonna do a race down like New Smyrna, put them in super lates and have it just be the top 5 finishers from each series racing each other or something like that.
That would be sick.
On the same type of car. I mean, anything like that would be 100 times more interesting than anything we saw at Daytona this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was skeptical about the Clash going the road course just because, like, I felt like it was just
seeing it at night though. I love them on the road
course.
It
It was
definitely better during the day.
Yeah, it was definitely very cool at night, and I think the way, like, I know the truck race is gonna be at night, and the Xfinity race is gonna start in the afternoon and should end at night. I mean, I don't know the Cup race will get there. I know we don't have to worry about rain unless there's lightning, I guess. But that was
know that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
No, I think I heard the schedule for this next week. It's gonna be dry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but it's Florida.
Of course, the road course is gonna be dry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That would make it more entertaining.
Too. It's like Hawaii. Like you go there and it's like, oh yeah, perfectly dry all day, and then boom, sudden rain just out of nowhere.
Right. Yeah, but no, that was the thing was, I was skeptical just because I felt like it was kind of a reactionary move after last year when there was like 2 cars that weren't wrecked at the end. But it ended up being like I thought a fairly entertaining race.
I thought so too.
I thought. Yeah, they had a lot of guys. I mean, at the end of the day, like the best road course racers were up there near the end. It was, I would say the top 5 road course racers right now. It's Chase Elliott, obviously, Truex, Hamlin, Blaney, and Kyle Busch. I mean, I think those are the top 5 road racers there are.
Truex. Martin Truex lost me a lot of money just deciding to wreck himself.
Yeah, I mean, and that was the big thing. That was a big thing. That was the big thing from that race.
Go. It's the only time I've ever rooted for MTJ too.
Can we talk about how many fucking commercials there were during the 500?
All those. It was ridiculous.
Like single file, there wouldn't be a commercial. But once they started to do anything, let's go to commercial.
90% of cautions happen under commercial. I swear to fucking God.
Yeah. Right. That's the most ridiculous thing.
They do it on purpose.
They have
Anytime they see anything happening, we're gonna go cut to a commercial. Yeah.
Well, I'll give them credit. They were gonna cut to that simpy little Bubba short film Toyota did, and they came right back because the caution came out that time. They're like, we don't need to watch Bubba Wallace. We just have a caution now. So welcome back.
That's the whole thing about it, is that the fact that, you know, what other like sport has commercials in the middle of like the action? Like, there's really no other sport that does that.
I mean, football takes TV timeouts, so
right, and that's the thing is like we'll get more into F1 later as that approaches here, but the F1 broadcast compared to a NASCAR broadcast is like an F1 broadcast, like those are amazing. Those are so good. You feel like you're so like educated on how things work, and there's the racing is not usually that exciting, but they make it interesting. They make it something that you want to watch, and there's no commercials at all. They're always talking about strategy or something going on, you know.
Or Lewis Hamilton leading.
Or Lewis Hamilton just lapping the entire field again.
Yeah, but I think they definitely need to step up their announcing game in NASCAR, just because like they just sound like a bunch of. Well, I mean, now that they have more drivers, it's starting to sound better. Like
it is.
I think Dale Jr. is really good. I think Jeff Burton's not too bad. I think Gordon's pretty good, and him and Boyer together are going to be phenomenal.
Larry Mack is good too.
Larry Mack is very good.
Always good.
But like a couple of years ago, it just sounded like just some dumb rednecks talking about cars going in circles. Like it didn't.
DW, yeah. He needed to go. He had no idea.
I like the stories. I love the stories, but he has no idea how these cars drive compared to the old ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's what Jeff Gordon's for. You got DW for the actual color commentating.
Right, and sometimes I do feel like they abuse the side by side. Like I almost feel like that, like when they're like,
have it every single time.
Well, I get that, but my thing is like it's fine, but like sometimes they like I feel like they do abuse that, and it's like a way for them to get more commercials in there. Which
they had 4 fucking hours during the rain delay to run all the commercials.
Yeah, exactly.
They should have. They should have just played every single commercial and just been like, all right, back to racing forever.
No, they were too busy doing radioactives from every Daytona race for the last 20 years.
Right.
And...
Even though they did that, what was it, during the other rain delay?
Race. Yeah. But yeah, like going back to it though, I think the road course race was really fun. Like I'm a pretty big road course guy. I've always loved like watching those. And like I said, I'd rather take it to New Smyrna and all that, but I think it was a good substitute to run it at the road course. It was pretty fun to watch.
Chase Elliott on those old tires, his closing rate was insane.
Yeah,
Blaney got him on the exits of the corners, but how Chase Elliott kept it straight under braking there was just insane.
Oh yeah, I thought once he got past there, I was like, yeah, It was the one where I think it was 2 to go, and it was like in the infield, that high speed section, that left-hander before I always forget the number of turns. It was like right after the hairpin, like turn 3, and then there's that one left-hander that's like you can go through full throttle, like if you're like by yourself, but if you're too wide there, like you're screwed. And he like almost wrecked it there. I was like, after that, Blaney pulled away, but then he kept closing in on all those braking sections. I mean, what you guys think of like that last corner and like what ended up happening?
That's just short track racing.
I mean, that's how it's supposed to be though. You're going just for money. Like, who gives a shit if you wreck your car? I mean, obviously, like you'd care about it because it's your car and the money that you probably lost. Because Hendrick would probably like give me that money back.
I don't think Chase Elliott would have gone for it if it was a points race.
Okay. I think
you're
right.
For the win.
I think he still would have done it.
I think he would have gone more on the back bumper, not sent it in.
Yeah.
I also, this is my other point about that, was I understand why they have that chicane there, but it's just not good. It's
so artificial.
It's so artificial, and it tightens up way too. Like it's even tighter than the Roval, like that last chicane there. it's just so tight to where it's like
if they would have had, if they have a big
do?
chicane like they do on the backstretch where you can actually go at more speed, I think that would be better. I mean, you'd still be slower entering turn one, but
yeah, you'd still have to hit the brakes a ton, and you could close in there. But it's so
tight you can't go anywhere.
You can't run too wide.
Two-wheel drive. Or two.
I mean, it's hard to run too wide on the backstretch, but you can at least get away with it without wrecking the other people off the turtles.
Yeah, and right. You can accommodate too wide racing in that little chicane right there, because you literally cannot do that unless the guy overjumps the turtle and then becomes a supercross jump.
Right. I mean that the outcome that happened was the only outcome that could have possibly happened with.
Didn't Joey Logano launch his car off early in the race?
Yeah, it was like lap 1. He ran up
to it and was like 4 wheels off the ground, and he's like, "Yeah, my engine is sounding a little funny."
Yeah. Like I definitely get the turtles. It just sometimes they are a little, just like a hair too much.
Well, I mean, this one exactly. They're probably like a quarter to a half tire high. These ones are pretty big, bro.
Yeah.
These ones are massive. Like they're making like artificial bank turns when they ride on them.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what else I could have done there, but sometimes it does feel like they're a little bit too.
I don't think they even tested without the chicane the speeds. I think they only did it in iRacing.
Yeah, I think there's enough room like on that like entry to like pit road area where like I think they could make a little bit bigger of a chicane or you can make some type of braking zone, but like make it to where like it doesn't have to be that tight on the exit.
Yeah, I don't think they should get rid of the chicane fully, considering on the starts how many people still end up missing the corner and end up almost hitting the barriers, but.
Yeah, no, they definitely need it, and it's definitely there with like a finish like that where you have, I mean, Blaney would have won it easily if that chicane wasn't there. It was just that gave Chase one last run at him, and then it was just too tight in the end. So.
Oh geez, I was taking a nap. What was going on? I was talking about road courses. Okay,
let's not talk about the road course. Well, Junior Motorsports had a. They had
a day. I felt bad for Josh Berry.
Josh Berry, yeah, he was in a good spot.
He was doing so good.
He was up front the whole fucking day.
Right. I hope he gets more opportunities.
I think he's doing 8 races.
I think it's like 13. I think it's I
think somebody real gay like Miguel Paludo's got a few races in it.
Well,
and then Sam Mayer.
Yeah, Paludo, he's going to be in there this weekend, and I think at Coda and maybe one other one. I don't know what all the road courses are for the Xfinity Series. Mid-Ohio, maybe that's the other one.
All right, well, looking forward to the boring, sleepy Daytona road course this coming week. I don't really care about it, but you guys seem to have some opinions. I think the 35 laps we saw in the Clash were enough. Let's move on to something fun. Again, yeah, because NASCAR fans want road courses and not short tracks for sure.
Well, the thing was is like based on the schedule though. Like, I mean, the only reason this is here is because they're not going to Auto Club, which I mean,
Smyrna. And then 5 Flags right after that.
Nashville, not the super speedway.
After that, and then come right on back to Homestead.
But I mean, honestly, like Auto Club, like for like the intermediate tracks, it's definitely one of the better ones. Usually, it has most entertaining racing. But
like I said, one of my favorite tracks.
Not the last couple of years.
Yeah, it does get strung out pretty well, just because I think the track surface is so old. But obviously it'll be interesting to see what they do with this. I think they have one more race, like the 2-miler, and then I think it's going to get done in.
That was the plan, but I thought that race was going to be this year. So
yeah. I think they moved it back, the construction back a year, so they could have one more, the 2-miler.
Which is ridiculous because even though I like watching it, I like driving it in like games and stuff, it's not very fun to watch. Like for most people.
Yeah, I mean it's just the first like 10 laps are really, I mean especially with this package, the first 10-15 laps. Yeah, they're really entertaining, but yeah, once the tires start falling off, it does get really stretched out, and everybody goes to the top, and then they got those big ass spoilers, and you can't follow anybody, so that seems to be the issue.
Personally, I do like watching him run the top. I think it's just entertaining to watch. Like,
Oh
see
yeah,
who
it's
has
definitely
talent, see who's like dancing up there, who's getting loose and all that stuff. It's fun to watch. But
it's fun to watch, and
I'd rather have the half mile.
yeah, and that's the Homestead. I think was I like watching those tracks, but more in the Xfinity series because they don't have that. They have a lot less downforce. And they just have to work the car a little bit more, and they're not quite as effective when they're following another car as the Cup Series or the Truck Series. So, but anyways, I guess we got to get back to the good old road course.
Interesting enough, though, I didn't realize Justin Haley is entered for the Daytona Road Course and Cup. Allmendinger, obviously. But
I forgot about him in Xfinity. That's gonna be a good battle.
Justin Haley in a Spire car, which is fucking weird because he's not. I don't remember him being all that impressive at road courses.
My three picks for the road course are, Sheldon Creed, Austin Cindric, and Chase Elliott.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
That's what we're all gonna pick.
Chalk right there. That's pretty chalk.
I'll take the change up. I think someone's gonna beat Chase Elliott, and I think it's gonna be Martin Truex Jr. That man had a missile. That man was flying.
I actually.
Then he fucked himself in the ass.
Well, I think a big part of the story is going to be what they're going to do with that backstretch chicane, which just got a ton of dirt laid down. That seemed to be the biggest issue.
Well, they wouldn't have got dirt laid down if they didn't go off the track.
I mean, if you give guys opportunities to cut the track, they're going to take advantage of it. So, I mean, that's why it's down there. Yeah, I mean, obviously it's hard to go against Chase at any road course, but I did think even last year at the Daytona road course, Martin Truex Jr. looked like he was the best car. I mean, he came back from the back of the pack at late in the race and came in to finish third. So I think Truex is going to get one. Finally, I still forget, like he only had one win all of last season, which is insane. So I think he gets one. I'm gonna say guy that you might have to watch out for though. I mean, it's not like it's a big name for road courses, but just the equipment that he's in. I think AJ Allmendinger. I'm going to be very interested to see how that Kaulig car runs in the Cup Series. Obviously, we haven't seen it really other than this season and Kaz Grala catching on fire. Yeah, we haven't really seen that. But I mean, if he were to be competitive and I mean pull it off, I mean that could honestly. And especially if he has a good year in the Xfinity series, I mean, you might never know, especially with all these road courses here. I mean, if he does well, I mean, I'm sure he's got to be in all the road course races for Kaulig this year. If he does well and he wins one of them and the other ones he's very competitive, I mean, shit, that's all you need is these days is one win and you're in the playoffs. So
they just need to fucking bring back qualifying though. That way the open teams can try to race in.
Are they not qualifying for these races?
I don't think so.
Well, like they aren't. They're going off Daytona points.
I think they're points.
That's why Jordan Anderson isn't making it in the
Xfinity
series for the next races.
I think they're doing the old formula where it was. I think it's what they did last year, right? Where it was basically. I forget what they came up with exactly, but it was like race finish from the previous week. It was points, and then it was fastest lap. And it was some like combination of those three, and they were weighted a little bit differently.
Yeah, because whenever they did the random draw, Eric Amarola was just like, yeah, I got top 3.
Smithfield. I mean, it should have just been sponsored by Smithfield.
For real, the random draw sponsored by Smithfield.
He got so lucky there.
Interesting entries into the Daytona truck race. Sam Mayer in the Henderson 75 truck was an interesting one. Most interesting one, Jet Noland, who Tyler might remember from the World Series this weekend, driving pro and super late models, is going to be driving.
The other two pucks didn't watch.
Is going to be driving the 44 Nice truck in the Daytona road course races, which is weird. Wow. I would have thought he'd want to come on for some short tracks, but who knows? Maybe he will be.
Can't say no to money.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
I say Deegan spins out again.
You know what's weird? Is she on this? Yeah, she is on this. I mean, she's not gonna win ever.
I can't believe they didn't clean off the track better than it was. Like, that was bad.
That was so bad.
How about Willie Byron taking out, just straight taking out Quinn Hoof?
That was tough.
He's like, hey, taste my sheet metal.
I mean, that was pretty tough. Like, I respected that.
I honestly think I think he's gonna have a good run too at the road course. I wouldn't be surprised if he got a top 5, honestly.
I'll eat my mic.
This is something we're just gonna hear from you every week. Just like I'm gonna pick Joey Logano every week.
You know what's funny too, Jay?
I mean, I didn't pick
the 24 car. Homeboys in the 24 car. You know who else was? T. Mulligan.
All the greats we know.
Oh yeah, I'm sure everybody will figure him out sometime at some point. They'll all have to have that Tyler Mole in their life.
I don't even know who I want to pick in this truck race. Chandler Smith, maybe, I guess. Yay, that's fun.
All right.
If you want, you can pick Ben Rhodes.
Xfinity, probably Tommy Joe Martins. In my cup pick is going to be Joey Logano. I mean, I know that's what I just said, and I was making fun of Rye for simping, but he finished.
He's got to make it over the Turtles.
He finished third, yeah, but he got some practice in, and he looked strong the whole race. He was passing people, making moves. He wasn't the fastest car out there, but he made do with what he had. And he's not a bad road course racer, right? Mm-hmm. I think he's going to want to make up for what happened this week. And I'm going to go with somebody kind of outside. Well, even though it'll probably be Allmendinger, I'm going to probably say like Gragson, dude, because he's going to want to make up for having a bad Daytona race. And
yeah,
he's going to be running hard.
That's the thing, is it seems like, well, I guess we looked at the weather, right? I mean, it could obviously change very quickly at Daytona, but let's take a look at it. Looks like Friday. It doesn't look like there's any threat currently for Saturday or Sunday. I was going to say, like, that's the thing, is when it rains, I feel like that brings so many more teams into the game versus when it's dry out.
It's more skill.
It's more skill,
yeah,
and
you can see Alex Zabay win a road course race if it's just raining.
Right, it's less. It's just less.
And it's not on the oval, so he won't spin out a couple times.
He finished 4th in the Xfinity race at Daytona on the oval last year. Just a heads up.
So yeah. So we got what for the Cup race? At least we got. Logan's got Chase. Me and YT, we got Truex, and then Jay's got
Joey Logano, baby.
Joey Logano. All right. I mean, that's pretty.
The really only interesting entry I see on the entry list for the Xfinity cars is
Miguel Pluto.
Ty Gibbs making his
first
start. Yeah,
yo,
Andy
Can we talk about Ty Dillon in the Xfinity series when he wrecked the entire fucking field?
I love when they interviewed him earlier, and he was like, "Well, I just hope," like, he was talking about how he hopes all the younger Xfinity drivers can look up to him, and like, as a veteran, they can learn stuff from him. And then he pulled a dumbass move like that.
Honestly, what was really funny is my dad, Mr. JB, he was like, "Oh yeah, Hemrick should have checked up for him," and I was like, that man was not even close to clear.
No.
It is pretty funny though that it was like Daniel Hemrick though that ended up getting involved. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really hoping for Ty Dillon though. I kind of wanted to see him do well in that equipment.
But
But
who cares about Ty Dillon, dude? Like, no
He's
one.
got. I think he
His
still has like.
grandfather doesn't even care about him.
Mm-hmm.
That is kind of weird though. That like he's. I mean, I'm trying to think of like the last time. Like I know like when he was in the 13 car, like it was affiliated with RCR a little bit. But like,
Yeah,
when
they
was the
said
last
that.
time that like one of Richard's grandsons was like competing like against him? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Never.
it's just weird. That was
I
the
think
weirdest
I
part.
think his grandfather's that guy from Bass Pro Shops now. I don't think it's.
Might be.
There was so many Bass Pro Shop
Oh, I
cars in
know.
the fields
Yeah.
this
Yeah,
both in
I
Xfinity
was
race,
talking
Xfinity
about
racers
that.
too. Cup race in the duels between the duels and the 500. There's 3, I believe.
Yeah, I was talking about
Too
that,
many.
man. I like how they sponsor like personalities instead of teams. I think
Mhm.
that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Like you could see a Ford, Chevy, and Toyota Bass Pro car in the same race.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty.
And Ty Dillon has entered the Daytona Road Course race in the '96 Gone Brothers car.
Once
For
again,
Ty
Bass
Dillon,
Pro
no one gives a
sponsored.
shit. Update.
And Black
Was
Rifle
he in the
Coffee was
field?
another one of those sponsors that sponsored, because they sponsor both Noah Gragson, and they also did sponsor Ty Dillon with the Cup car.
True.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool too that they sponsored, not them, but who was it? It was Daniel Defense. They sponsored Ty Dillon's car one time. That was really cool. So-
Jay's ready to just like skip this weekend of racing and then just go to Homestead.
If I didn't have to work this week, you goddamn bet I'd just take drugs and fucking figure out a way to sleep until next Monday or something. Put myself into a little mini coma.
Yeah.
So why do you hate road courses so much?
Well, there's no competition. It's like the same fucking 5 guys running up front. So it's so I just hate how they're like every Cup fan is clamoring for begging for more short tracks, and they're like, oh, how about we'll give you the longest tracks and the most turns, and everyone's like, oh yeah, this is an F1, and they're like, oh, could be though, and you're like, no,
Honestly, let's just go to Nürburgring.
yeah, let's just like
Honestly,
let's take this show on the road, dude. Let's go to every country. Let's just be F1. I mean, why
Mhm.
not? That's they
first
trying
of all,
to
that'd be kind of cool.
they're trying to get old Louis Hamilton over here to I mean, which I'd be all for. That'd be actually
That'd be really
interesting.
cool.
Dude, how
Yeah.
cool would it be for like I guess it would have to be earlier in the year. Like if we could get him to like come and race at COTA, or like they could align it with like the F1, and maybe it was like the weekend before or something, that F1 race. They could have like Lewis Hamilton drive like like the 54 Xfinity car, like the 8 Xfinity car or something like that. That would be pretty dope, I think.
I mean, shit, dude, he could have come over for the Daytona Road Course and hopped in a
Rick car.
Rick Ware car. Yeah, you could try to see if he could outdo. Dude, I bet that dude in a Rick Ware car, if especially if they did like a one-off crossover with another team, like a team that can actually build a race car, he'd probably do better than 90% of the field.
Well, I mean, that's the thing though, is like if there's no practice though, like he's not gonna do shit. I mean, if this is his first time in a stock car.
Let's be honest, dude. They let that dude run a couple laps. If Lewis Hamilton said he's coming to NASCAR, they'd find a way to make some practice.
Yeah, I mean,
for sure.
Well, I know like for COTA they'll have like a bunch of practices for that. I know it's all the tracks that they haven't been on before, I think, is getting the practices this year. And then maybe like the Coke 600. And that's about it, I feel like.
All right, looking forward after the Daytona Road Course.
Sick pussy, Logan.
We're he's always petting the pussy. Always cheating. Never.
Well, most.
Homestead, that'll be fun. I think we mentioned that. Tyler Dale Earnhardt's mustache mentioned that a little bit earlier. Everybody got Kyle Larson on that one?
Nope.
Oh yeah, sorry, William Byron. He's gonna.
Yeah.
Gonna get that Willie B. High line.
Well, hey, I mean, we gotta save that for next week. We gotta keep people coming back to this, So.
You mean Tyler's girlfriend?
Hey, we hope this goes viral and everybody is still listening.
Shout out to her.
Yeah, thanks Tyler's girlfriend for listening, or at least telling Tyler that you listened. That really makes us all feel really good.
Thank you.
Thanks for keeping this boy busy.
Everybody that's still listening
you guys ever
now.
watch Django?
You are the real ones.
Yes, sir.
Ryan, like
never
that
seen
one
a movie.
scene. Yeah, it's like that one scene where they're like, "My wife made this for all you guys, you all ungrateful bastards." She walks over when else could run.
Rip.
Anyways, I think we got our race picks in. We covered. I mean, shit. We covered the 500. We covered, what we thought of it. We covered not much of the Xfinity and Trucksters because there was not much interesting in either of those. Talked about the Clash.
And the Daytona 500 wasn't interesting either. So.
Yep, it was not interesting at all. That's why I gave it a, what did I say, 3.9, 3.8, 3.9, something like that. 3.9.
Well, me and the mustache actually watched some racing this week.
Oh, that's good. You guys want to talk about it? And
yeah, that's right.
The World Series of Stock Car Racing was great.
So get it cut honestly, out by Logan.
I don't give a flying fuck about anything besides the Pro Lates, Super Lates, and the Tour Type Modifieds. The Tour Type Modifieds had the most cars down there than they'd had in like over 10 years. It was amazing racing. Big Money Matt Hirschman took the title again. And Ryan Preece made a pretty amazing run. The Jimmy blew it, but overall the racing was amazing, and it proved that only two people on this podcast actually like racing. Tyler's the other one, surprisingly.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed a lot of it. It was my first time actually watching the World Series. Like, I watched a bunch of other short track racing. Like, I watched Snowball, Snowflake, and all that, all the other big races. But
Snowflake.
Yeah,
Are there snowflakes tuning into this podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
But anybody
that was
listening?
the first time
Fuck
watching,
feelings.
Watching New Smyrna, and I had a blast watching it. Like, that track is so cool. The tour mods there, they were super fun to watch, except they looked like a demolition derby, especially the first night. Actually, no. What up?
You gotta get those chrome horns dialed in, baby.
What's your best time at New Smyrna?
The cat just slipped off my lap and fell off the chair.
It do be fast. It do be. Do you go in like at the middle line and then try to like park at the middle line? You park and cut it down.
Still in neutral.
You run a fixed setup, or you run it like an open setup, though. Where's your brake bias at, baby?
It's my job.
You got that bias to the front, baby, or the back, baby?
We need this to blow up, and then we all need to get on iRacing, and then we'll just like start doing a race during the week or something like that.
I mean, that World Series, honestly, the one thing it did was make me appreciate living in New England, and that I'm gonna be able to watch a ton of modified races this year, because if that many people showed up to Florida, it's gonna be a sick year of modified racing, because people are just ready to get out of the house and hit the track, and that's very very exciting. Not to mention,
I can't wait
till
our dirt tracks open up in April.
SRX series coming to Stafford Speedway. I'll be there.
I'm very interested to see how they all race together with those cars.
Bill Elliott's gonna be a rocket, baby. 95-year-old Bill Elliott to the front.
Dude,
Bobby Labonte's to hop out of the NASCAR Race Hub booth and go race SRX. I wonder why they haven't cut him off yet. They had Tony Stewart in the booth this weekend. That was fun.
Yeah, Chase is just going to dye his hair gray. Yeah, Chase is going to dye his hair gray just so he can race, pretend he's Bill Elliott, get in the car and race.
Dude, everybody was like pumping him up for racing all these other like series and stuff in the off season. Well, maybe he's just going to be like, yep, I'm going to go in the SRX, baby. Race against the legend.
When does that start?
June 12th. The Stafford race is the first race.
All right.
Ryan has a chance. This is when we can see how simped out this boy be.
If you don't go to that race, Ryan, you're getting kicked off.
Yeah.
Like you're one of the main people that started this.
We're gonna find a way to just.
I'm definitely interested. I think that would be a lot of fun, and it's not that far away. I don't think. I think it's only like it's less.
You also have the
than-
Milwaukee Mile with ARCA.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go to that, but.
Well, Ryan's in the asphalt short track belt, basically in the Midwest. I mean, there are like 19 great short tracks within probably 2 hours of his driving. I am too in the Northeast. I've got a lot of great tracks up here that I'll actually
go to Oktoberfest this year. I'm hoping to get to that at La Crosse Speedway.
Bring this Twinkie with you, because he needs a friend to bring him to a real short track and get him dirty.
Yeah.
Right.
Get me dirty.
But yeah,
I mean, I could do a dirt track and he'll actually be covered in dirt by the end of the night.
The question will be, will he have a shirt on at the end of the night? And I bet no, bro.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, hell no, bro. Hell
Just
no.
don't bring your dad, Logan. He'll be like, what's this boy doing? He's got no shirt on. His shirt just took off.
Yo, why is he flirting with me, though?
You want to be my new daddy, Logan's daddy? No, you got to go to the SRX race. You got to make Rye Slinger Speedway. $35 are the tickets, dude. That's so cheap.
Damn.
No, I'm definitely interested. I'm definitely interested in going
If
to that.
Logan goes, will you go with him?
Oh,
That's
for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's for sure.
When is it?
What,
it's
July?
Something or other. It's on a Saturday
10?
night in July.
It's like a July
I'll
11th
look
or
into
something
it.
like
I'll
that.
look into it.
It's like the week after 4th of July, probably.
And to finish off the podcast, I got one more question for you guys. How
Alright.
many commercials are there going to be during the Daytona Road Course? I want an exact number, and I'm going to be counting them.
Okay, so is this like how many like commercial
From the
breaks,
green
or like
flag,
how many
green-
Commercials.
commercials? Like how
Let's
many?
do just
Commercial
commercials in
breaks.
general. Let's do
Oh.
commercials. Just
Anybody have a
because, like,
least
they milk
interesting
that.
question?
Does
Just 'cause they milk. Yeah, I do.
does
How many wins
like
William Byron have this year?
What kind of milk do you guys drink? What kind of milk do you guys drink? I'm a skim milk man. Personally.
1%
oh gosh. I'm gonna say
titty milk.
I
Okay, Alex.
Yeah.
I like
Yo,
some
honey
titty
bun.
milk in a double cheeseburger from McDonald's.
Honey bun for the stars.
With some honey buns.
shout out to the Heredia God who is leading
Over
our
to you, God,
points.
my teammate.
Yeah.
All right, so every single commercial/commercial break, like, because they just milk that side by side cam.
Yeah.
87.
You say milk?
87.
Yes.
I like don't even know like a legitimate number for this. I feel like it's going to be like
You
over
got 5
the
seconds
course-
to answer.
Loser has
5,
to get
4,
naked
3,
on the
2, 1.
podcast.
over the course of like the
Debbie
entire
agree.
like broadcast,
How about
like
Like-
from when the race starts, or like
Yes.
from
Race
when the
start.
race to race
From the
Check
finish.
the
drop
flag
of the green
flies.
flag
Okay,
till the
okay.
checkers. So they're pulling people out in body bags, baby.
I'm gonna say 76.
All right, I got 73, 76, and 86.
87.
87.
100 and I don't give a fuck.
Go.
All I know is that there'll be at least 3 cautions that'll happen while they're away at commercial break, and I'll be very angry.
Yeah. So well,
Three
everybody
Mark
else.
Winhope.
Clint Boyer will be hyped.
Hey, maybe we should just live tweet the race on Twitter.
I would be okay with
or
that.
something like
It's like-
Everybody's got
Well, we
Alex
gotta
like
do it
race
Jim
for that
Butter
to happen.
style. Gotta do it
Yeah.
Jim Butter style.
Follow
Lap
what is
lap
it? The
two,
Backmarkers
Lap
Pod.
3. Lap 4.
Backmarkers Pod on Twitter.
At the Backmarkers Pod on Twitter is the answer to that question.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Backmarkers Podcast on Instagram. The
At
Backmarkers
Backmarkers Pod.
Podcast on Facebook.
And
Pretty
then
much on
Joey
everything.
Gaze on YouTube.
Yeah, and the Backmarkers Podcast. I mean, just search that on things. Spotify, Apple, iTunes.
Get it trending, baby. Get it trending.
We're not that
We
stupid
out
to
this
actually think
bitch.
that that's a real thing. But thank
Enough
you if you
people
are the
watch.
1 or 2 or 3, maybe all of our parents, hopefully listening to this podcast. We appreciate you listening to
Yeah.
episode 2.
Thanks for giving birth to us.
Sorry, I wasn't as interesting because I'm supposed to be the interesting one. I feel bad for that. I apologize to all of you.
And again, this is gonna be a routine. Is whenever a road course is on tap, Jay is just sort of gonna check out. So
yeah,
we do apologize for that.
Someone says road course, I'm just gonna take a little nap behind the glasses from now on. And for the final piece though, I really just want to thank Tyler's girlfriend for being the only person who probably listened to this podcast. Besides Logan last week. We owe her gratitude of gratitude if she ever wants to come on this podcast to replace Tyler. She's got an open invitation.
Hey, okay. If I ever shave the mustache, she's on.
Yeah, if you ever die
just make her dress up as
blood,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Give her a fake mustache and let her go, baby.
Do her best impression of me.
Just like Derek Cope, we out.